welcome to Shovelware Diggers. Our dig team is currently excavating the Softkey Shareware 2000 Hit Games 2CD collection. You can find a link in the video description listing the entire directory structure of this archive. Here's what our diggers have for week 281. For more information on how to join the dig team, simply follow the Patreon link in the video description. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. First up, we have a recovered dig. Last week, Christopher Groff dug up WINGAMES /GG/BATTDD, and I had a heck of a time trying to get it working, but guess what? It's working now. Okay, so it turns out we were actually pretty close to getting this one working properly. It's just... You're not going to believe this. Okay, so we were on the right track with running this setup program. And you can see that it says here that it wants to put it in the same directory that it's already in. And when I tried to change it to a directory that didn't already exist, so in this case, let's just say games /battles or BATTDD, right? So if I try to tell it to put it here, it's going to say it's an invalid path. Please re-enter. And then when I tried putting it in to its own path or whatever, or ignoring this and hitting the cancel button, we just ended up with a game that wasn't working. Well, here's the thing. This does actually work. It's just you have to create this folder yourself. So let's go. Where have we got here? I don't actually have a games folder here. I mean, I have a WinGames, which I sometimes put stuff in, so I guess we can just do that. So file, create directory. We're going to do BATTDD. Okay, so we've got that folder existing there. So now we go back into the installer. We're going to make this WinGames /BATTDD. And now it says copying over. And then make the thing. And if we go into our games group, it actually works. So the installer was definitely trying to do something, but here's the thing. If the guy making this couldn't figure out how to parse a string in order to create the proper directory structure, I don't have high hopes for how good this game's gonna be. Because yeah, if you go back in time to these earlier days of computing, when it comes to handling directories or folders as they're known in Windows, what ends up happening is you can't actually create a directory that's off of another directory that doesn't already exist automatically. You have to create them one step at a time. So if WinGames didn't exist, I'd have to create WinGames first and then create the BATTDD folder on top of that. I can't do them both at once at the same time. But still, to do that manually, you would just parse a string and look for your / characters. So, yeah, I don't have high hopes here. But let's see what we got. Like, I mean, we got it. We got some 16 color tanks here and such. So, let's see. Help. Okay, and the help file's working now too. Yeah, whatever it was, it like decompressed whatever those files were. So, introduction. Battles in a Distant Desert, BDD, is a collection of battles which could have taken place during Operation Desert Storm. Could have taken place. Probably didn't. Each battle is presented in the form of a scenario which can be selected by you. Although this game presents a common interface for each battle, each is unique in the use and types of units involved, as well as the strategies and tactics needed to win. Okay, the game is played by each player moving all, some, or none of the player's units in alternating turns. Each scenario has a specific victory condition and set of turns to play. Okay, so this is sounding like a typical turn-based strategy game. Now, if I'm also recalling correctly, we only have 25 turns that were allowed for whatever we're doing here. Yeah, so the Shareware version of this game will play the first 25 turns out of 50 or out of a 50 or 75 turn scenario, which is more than enough time for you to evaluate. Wait a minute, but this only comes with the one scenario, which is 50 turns? So why would there be a qualifier here as well? Yeah, there's only the one scenario here, berm busting. And we can either do computer versus computer, computer versus player, player versus player, and we can play as either the Coalition or the Iraqi. So, let's do computer versus player. Guess it'll be the Coalition. Player 1, turn 1. Okay, so we got our battlefield here. We've got a unit list. Apparently first and first, second and first, first and second. So like platoons and individual units. And also firebirds, whatever those are. I think these are probably our firebirds. Yeah. And apparently they each have 40 magic points. I'm going to guess MP does not stand for magic points. Oh, we even have a scenario history. The CEO said it would be a piece of cake. Sure tell that to the Iraqis. Your company is charged with the mission of securing the sector of the berms and hold it until the oncoming units of Bear's Hail Mary push arrive to pass through you. The line of advance will be through the center fort and due north from here. You must occupy as many bunkers as possible along the line of advance. You'll have the services of 2 Apache assault helicopters, which the CEO wants returned in 1 piece each. No guarantees. Use the Apaches to stand off and destroy the Iraqi armor and any dug-in infantry. Your M1A1s and M2s should provide the punch needed to assault and overrun the Iraqi positions. Since your orders are to secure and hold, you had best be sure to take out any located armor and infantry. Okay, so a bunch of things to do. What else do we got here? Info. So this describes more about the individual things for a particular scenario. So it's kind of interesting that it's using separate help files to describe the different things for specific scenarios. I mean, it kind of makes sense. So yeah, looking around this map here, this actually seems to be a pretty big map. I can at least click on the thing here to see everything that's going on. And we got these things, whatever they are. Or are they just rocks? No, nothing in the information about whatever these are. Maybe they're just rocks. Okay, so I guess we got to start moving our units. So there's going to come through the center. I mean, I don't think they're going to take these footpaths or whatever they are. Like, they look like footsteps, but I'm not sure that's what they are. Especially just by the way it's been done up in the graphics here. Now, how do I actually... Oh, hang on. If I right-click, I can get information on something. Oh, and with the units, I actually get the ability to change the direction they're facing, their targeting, can check their status and everything. I can rename them. That's interesting. Okay, so these are oil ditches. So I'm guessing going down into that oil is probably a bad idea. And then what are these things? These are bunkers. Okay, so this is where I'm supposed to be getting to, are these bunkers. Okay, so you have to select to move a unit. And then it seems to move, you can't move diagonally. It'll just move horizontally and vertically. So each move with this one takes 3 movement points. And for some reason can't use the last 3. Okay, that's kind of weird. So given that I have a lot of units to go through here, this might take a while. Maybe I should have set it to computer versus computer. In fact, let's go do that. If I go to... Where it was? So if I go to New Game, confirm changing scenarios, let's make it computer versus computer and see how this goes. So start computer versus computer game, okay. So is it actually going to show me like more of the more space other than this tiny window? I guess not. Oh, it looks like Okay, so it looks like the Apache helicopters found some infantry there. Okay, I was about to say I couldn't really do anything while all that was going on, but thankfully it actually asks you if you want to continue after it's done processing a particular turn. So if we hit yes, it'll probably do a next turn. Now I wonder why it didn't move all of the tanks on the first turn, like for the coalition side. Hang on a second. I was listening to the sound effects there. They sounded familiar for some reason. I've never played this game before, but the sound effects were familiar. I'm trying to think where I heard them. Yeah, that sound... Both of those sounds. I've heard those sounds before on a different game. I just don't know which game. Wait a minute. I think I do actually know which game I've heard those sound effects in before. I'm not sure if it's in this collection CD, though. Okay, so it looks like this is definitely more advanced than it led on to be, especially given that the installer clearly was done in a very bizarre and not at all intuitive way. But at least the gameplay itself, like the game itself, does seem to be working. And, you know, as far as strategy-based games are concerned, in terms of Windows stuff, this is definitely more advanced than what we typically see. So, okay, so that was Battles in a Distant Desert. I'm going to quickly check to see if I'm right about this. So, let's go back to the file manager here. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, I think we're looking for a game called Crusade in Space. So that would be something that starts with a C. Okay, it might not actually be in this collection, or if it is, it's not not going to be an easy one to find. Or heck, maybe it's even shown up on the show at some point in the past. But the game I'm thinking of that might have the same sound effects would be called Crusade in Space. It's something that's it's actually on the 40 hit games collection. What was it, the Imagitech one? I've got the CD in front of me here. Yeah, Imagitech 40 pack. Like, I did a whole filler video on just the CD itself because of the weird nature of how it was using the same disc in multiple different packages with different passwords in order to lock off all the programs on it. And I know that that particular CD has that game. It's just I can't find it here quickly, so I don't have an easy way to compare. But I'm going to look into that. And if I figure anything out, I'm going to post the information in the additional info section of this video, just as a cross-reference there. But yeah, definitely going to look into that, and at least we got that one game working. Next up, Felicia Gladson has dug up WINGAMES /GG/HOMESTRC. Not entirely certain what to expect with this one. I'm guessing it stands for HOMESTRC, but I wouldn't know what that would mean in this context. What's this say? HOMESTRC. Okay. So this is the most realistic and fun horse racing and wagering simulation available. Read the past performances of all the horses in a race to make wise betting decisions, realistic odds, bets. Okay. And we also got to read first, which we didn't read first. So this is copyright 94 Ultimate Software. I wonder how many companies started their name with Ultimate back when they were trying to do shareware games and stuff. Okay, this was a little confusing to read at first. I'm thinking to myself, is this a DOS game or a Windows game? But it's just making reference here that even though this is a Windows game, that it can be started from DOS. The only trick is that you actually have to have Windows started. Although it says here this one will actually start Windows automatically, which is kind of weird. I didn't think it was possible to do that. And like usually if you try to run a program in DOS and Windows isn't running, you just get a message saying this program is for Microsoft Windows. So, Although apparently this game costs $20, and there's a pro version for $10, which includes everything in the basic registration plus horse ownership. So basically the ability to manage your own stable of horses. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's just try running it, because I don't think this is going to be too complicated. It looks like we've got some sound effects, though, so let's see. Okay, so typical registration thing, register later. Okay, so welcome to Winston Downs, which is not the name of the game, but whatever. So, okay, so the names in the thing down here, home stretch, we got split time, ranks, stuff. Allowance, purse, 12,000. 3-year-olds and upward. Okay. So what do we do here? Well, we got all this stuff. We got simple about screen. So we got for settings, we can either do 6 furlongs or a mile. For the field, we can have between 5 and 12 horses. Speed, surface, and type, which I guess it's the type of betting or something like that. So I guess new game. How many human players? Just the one. I like the name of human player 1 is just human 1 by default. Let's go with that. And then apparently our computer players are going to be random picks, automation, and handicapper. Okay then. Okay, so I started a new game, I think. I can look at my net worth. So I got $10,000 cash, as does everybody else. So next race, 1 mile on dirt, 12 horse field. Okay. So, okay. Why is this a resizable win? There's no way this is resizable. Yeah. I was about to say, this doesn't seem like it should be in a resizable window. So you can actually see some past performances down here, which I'm not sure how well it's going to help us out here. We can see like top horses. Okay, so it's actually already processed some of this to some degree, because apparently Cherry Delight is at the top of the list. Then we got Mr. Edward, Dakota Mary, John Galt, Golden Rule, That What Is Not, Grease Lightning. Okay, I'm looking through the list of horse names here, and a lot of them sound like they actually came from like music records or something. Especially the Can't Touch This one. Unfortunately though, I don't see any coconut pizza or future glue. Okay, so this is basically allowing us to select the type of bet we want. I think we're just gonna go bet on a specific horse. It seems as though, just looking at the odds, it's either gonna be number 1 or number 9. Although these ones say 7 of 2 and 9 of 2. Like this would be 3.5 and 1, and this would be 4.5 and 1. It's kind of weird that it's doing it like that, but I guess we could always... Number 11 is 75 and 1. Yeah, we're not doing that. So if I just pick the top one here, Golden Rule, how much? I guess we're bet 1,000. Okay. So now I can see my bets. 1,000 on horse 1 to win. Okay, and we can actually click on the horse names and see the past performances for each of them. So that's neat. But anyways, let's just start the race. See where we end up here. Okay, those are our sound effects. Okay, so it's going to alternate between these 2 rows as it's showing us the progress of everything. So unfortunately, the horse we picked is currently in 4th place. If this number are not in 4th place anymore, uh-oh. Okay, there's the finish line. I don't think we're going to get much money out of this. So the horse crossed the finish line, and then... Yeah, we should have picked number 9. Oh, well. Where is even the one we picked? Holy jeez. Came in 6th place? Well, so much for those 1 in 3 odds. Now, it's showing that the computer players each lost 100 cash somehow. Like, I'm not sure exactly what was going on there. Also, we got, like, a photo button here. Interesting. So you can actually, like, do a slow motion replay of the final moment of a race. That's kind of weird, but it does what it says it does. And we can bring the results back up again if we want to. 8 and 5 odds? Really? We're gonna get that ridiculous with our odds calculations? To put that in perspective, 8 and 5 is actually better than 2 and 1. So this is technically the most likely horse to win. Although, I think I'm gonna go with number 12 here, Mr. Edward. So, bet another 1,000, and start the race. Well, this isn't going very well. Again. Holy jeez, is that our horse way at the bottom? That's not very good. Although, to be fair, there are a lot of horses behind him, and he's actually starting to pull ahead a little. So, maybe there's a chance? There's no chance. There's no chance here. No, those two that had the lowest odds were definitely gonna make it. Although it looks like our horse actually got third there. And apparently Cherry Delight has set a new Winston Downs track record. Okay. So anyways, there's our horse, Mr. Edward. Third place. Unfortunately, we were betting to win, so we don't get anything. So that was HOMESTRC, and yeah, this one's actually not bad as far as horse racing games are concerned. In fact, this is probably one of the better ones we've seen. So I guess if you really like horse racing games and you don't want to be spending thousands of dollars on actual horse races, well, this kind of does the trick then. And last up from Jay the Brain Man, we've got WINGAMES /strategy/columns. Not quite sure why this is in the strategy folder. Like, if it is actually columns and not like something completely different. And all we have is a tiny executable and a file id.diz. Oh, this is probably going to go fast. So columns, blocks of 3 colors fall from the top, and your job is to move and rotate them to align 3 or more blocks of the same color in a row. A row may be vertical, horizontal, or diagonal. Every time a row of 3 blocks is aligned, they disappear, and the blocks above them fall down, plus you get 1 point for your troubles. The game ends when a block fails to completely enter the playing area before hitting another block. And that's all we have to go on. Okay, so columns. Okay, well this is about as basic as it gets. So we got an about. Apparently this is from a Happyware, with an I instead of a Y. Although the actual author is a John Rotenstein. You get that right? Based on Macintosh columns by Chris Christensen. Okay then. So this is basically a copy of a copy of a clone? A clone of a clone. Okay then. Also, the guy's in Australia, and it says here, but seriously, if you do like it, could you please send me a postcard from your hometown so that I can see how far it has spread? Is that too much to ask? Well, first of all, you wrote this message in 1990, and it's now 2022, so 32 years later, not entirely convinced this address is going to work. Or not entirely convinced it's going to lead to that person anyways. And then at the same time, I can guarantee you it spread quite far. Because, you know, internet. Anyways, so I guess, well, there's a help thing. There's a very basic help, although it would help to know the controls. So left, right, move sideways. Up will rotate the colors, and then down will drop. Okay, so new game. So we've got our column list here. It's 6 wide, just like the proper columns board. And we can spin the colors. So how is this going to drop? Is it going to be instant? It's going to be instant, so that's good to know. So can it handle 2 at a time? It can indeed. So yeah, this seems like it's working as expected. Also, I like the fact that it's not trying to claim to be like some kind of weird Tetris game. Because we've encountered... Oh, I got a bit of a chain reaction there. We've run into that before, where a game claims to be like some form of Tetris, but it's really columns. Because I guess maybe because some people wouldn't know what columns is. Well, in that case, educate them. Don't pretend it's something it's not. So when it comes down to it, I'm not terrible at columns. The thing is, out of the different columns games that exist, the best one is definitely Columns 3 on the Genesis. But the point is, I don't have a huge amount of experience with columns, so that's the main reason why I'm not super good at it, is just because of the fact that I haven't played a whole bunch of it. So yeah, that was Columns. A very basic clone of Sega's... Well, I think it was Sega, right? Their Tetris-like game that's not Tetris. It's kind of more so like Dr. Mario, but even then, it's kind of not. I don't know. I'm not entirely certain. certain about the history between like Tetris and Columns and Dr. Mario. Like Tetris obviously came first, like, but as for the rest, you know, it's a Columns clone. It seems to work perfectly fine. There's no sound effects or anything, but for what is ultimately just a free game where the author wants nothing more than a postcard, it does the job.